They said the gate was just a legend, until it opened. For centuries, it was a whisper in the wind, a story told by firelight to frighten children and caution the curious. The elders spoke of it in hushed, reverent tones, a mythical threshold separating the world we know from the one that lies just beyond the veil of perception. They called it the umbral arch, the final door, the whisperer's passage. It was a folktale, a metaphor for death, a relic of a superstitious past that had no place in our modern, rational world. We mapped the globe, plumbed the depths of the oceans, and gazed into the farthest reaches of space, finding no evidence of such a place. The legends were dismissed as poetry, the warnings as mere fables designed to keep us grounded in the tangible, the provable, the real. We built our cities of steel and glass, our lives governed by logic and science, and we relegated the gate to the dusty shelves of forgotten lore. But then, a tremor, not of the earth, but of reality itself, shook the foundations of our understanding. It didn't appear with a crash of thunder or a blinding flash of light. It manifested subtly, a shimmer in the air in the desolate heart of the Atacama Desert, a place so barren it was said to mirror the surface of Mars. At first it was a heat haze that wouldn't dissipate, a mirage that didn't dance. Scientists who came to study the anomaly found their instruments going haywire, compasses spinning wildly, and temporal sensors registering impossible fluctuations. The air grew cold, a pocket of unnatural frost in the scorching sun. And then, slowly, over the course of a single, breathless sunset, the shimmer coalesced. It solidified into a structure that defied all architectural principles. An archway carved from a substance that was not stone, not metal, but something akin to solidified twilight. It absorbed the light, casting no shadow, its surface swirling with faint, nebular patterns. The legend had become a landmark. The gate was real, and it was open. Beyond it lies a realm where lost souls wander, a silent, sprawling landscape bathed in a soft, ethereal luminescence that emanates from no discernible source. This is not the fiery underworld of religious texts, nor the celestial paradise of hopeful dreams. It is something other, something more profound and unsettling. It is a vast, gray expanse, a shoreless ocean of mist where echoes of memory drift like fog. Here, figures move with a slow, aimless grace, their forms indistinct, their faces veiled by the pervasive haze. They are the echoes of lives once lived, the lingering resonance of consciousness untethered from physical form. They do not speak, but thoughts, emotions, and fragmented memories radiate from them in waves of palpable filling a pang of regret, a flicker of joy, a deep, unending current of sorrowful longing. They are searching, but for what? They no longer remember. They are waiting, but for whom? They have long forgotten. The landscape itself is a mutable canvas of forgotten places and moments. A cobblestone street from a Victorian city might fade into a primeval forest of crystalline trees. A spectral vision of a child's nursery, complete with a gently rocking cradle, can be seen dissolving into the skeletal remains of a forgotten battlefield. These are not hallucinations. They are the psychic residue of countless lives, the collected dreams and nightmares of humanity bleeding into the fabric of this strange dimension. Navigating this world is to walk through a living museum of human experience, a library of silent stories where every footstep kicks up the dust of 1,000 forgotten yesterdays. The air is thick with the scent of ozone and wilted flowers, the sound a constant, low hum, like the universe holding its breath. The lost souls drift through these phantom sceneries, sometimes pausing to gaze at a memory that resonates with their own faded past. A brief moment of connection before they are pulled back into their solitary and ending pilgrimage. They are not ghosts in the traditional sense. They are not here to haunt the living. They are simply remaining. They are the unresolved equations of life, the unsung songs, the letters never sent, held in a state of perpetual twilight. In this boundless territory of what was and what might have been, time stands still. Or rather, it ceases to be a linear progression and instead becomes a geographic feature, a landscape to be traversed. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously, layered over one another like transparent sheets. You can stand in a single spot and witness the birth of a star, the laughter of ancient children, and the slow, inevitable decay of a mountain range all at once. Clocks do not tick here. The very concept of a second, a minute, or an hour is meaningless. A moment of intense emotion can stretch into an eternity, while a millennium can pass in what feels like a single heartbeat. This temporal stasis is the realm's most insidious trap. Those who have dared to peer through the gate report a profound sense of dislocation, a vertigo of the soul. The very foundation of cause and effect crumbles. You might see the consequence before the action, the scar before the wound, the ruin before the first stone is laid. This temporal distortion is what preserves the lost souls in their unchanging state. They are caught in the amber of their most defining moments, forever reliving a choice, a loss, or a triumph, without the release of moving forward. The stillness is not peaceful. It is a suffocating blanket. There is no sunrise to promise a new beginning, no sunset to mark an end. There is only the eternal, unchanging now. To exist here is to be detached from the river of time that gives life its meaning, its urgency, its precious fragility. The very act of forming a new memory becomes impossible, as there is no before to anchor it, to and no after. To anticipate, it is a state of perfect preservation and perfect damnation, an existence where nothing ever changes, and therefore nothing ever truly lives. This is why the living are forbidden to enter. It is not a rule enforced by some celestial guardian or demonic sentry at the gate. It is a law of nature, as fundamental as gravity. The living are beings of time, of change, of forward momentum. Our bodies are clocks, our heartbeats the ticking of a finite existence. To step into a realm without time is to invite dissolution. The physical form, dependent on the constant, linear flow of biological processes, would begin to unravel. But the spiritual danger is far greater. The psyche, structured around a narrative of past experiences and future hopes, would fracture. The self, the I that is the sum of our journey through time, would be torn apart by the temporal part. The whispers from the lost souls, those waves of pure, unfiltered emotion, would overwhelm a living mind, flooding it with 1 billion lives worth of joy and agony. The human consciousness is not built to withstand such a deluge. It would be like a single drop of rain trying to contain the entire ocean. Those few who have tried to cross, the foolish and the desperate, have been irrevocably lost. They do not die in the conventional sense. Instead, they become part of the landscape. Their consciousness shatters, and its fragments attach to the mists, their memories becoming another spectral scene for the lost souls to wander through. Their bodies simply cease to be, their atoms scattered across an infinite, timeless moment. The prohibition is not a punishment, it is a warning. The gate is a one-way passage for the spirit after its journey in the flesh is complete. For a living, breathing being of flesh and time, it is not a doorway, but a grinder. What if crossing that gate means never returning? This is not a question of choice, but an absolute certainty. There is no coming back, because the person who crosses ceases to exist. There is no path back to the world of sunrises and seasons, because the concept of back implies a direction in time, and time is the very thing you leave behind. To cross the umbral arch is to surrender your story, to let your narrative dissolve into the endless, silent library of all that has ever been. It is to become a whisper among whispers, a memory among memories, another lost soul drifting through the mists of eternity. Perhaps for some, for those whose lives were defined by unbearable pain or unending grief, this dissolution might seem like a release, a final peace. But it is the peace of nothingness, the serenity of ceasing to be you. The gate offers an end to suffering, but it also offers an end to joy, an end to Opi, an end to Lao, an end to the beautiful, terrible, magnificent struggle of being alive. It tempts us with answers to the ultimate mystery, but the price of that knowledge is the self. The legend was always a warning. Now that the gate stands open, its shimmering portal a silent invitation to oblivion, that warning has never been more urgent. It calls to the broken-hearted, the terminally ill, the profoundly lost, promising an end. But the journey beyond life is not a journey at all. It is a final irrevocable stop.